Hello and welcome to Insights, the podcast with your host, Joe Pane. Join me in this deep exploration of our personal journeys from ambition to meaning, where we stop living life fast and start living life deep. This is a journey of waking up and realizing that our lives have never been about us, but about others. True success leaves positive ripple effects on other souls. I believe that success needs to be redefined from our own personal ambitious endeavors to be redefined as the value that we leave and give to others around us. Join me now as we begin this journey to deeper connections, even more fulfillment, some fun, curiosity, life, love, and all good things. Your deeper journey from ambition to meaning starts right now. Hey everyone, it's Joe Pane here. Welcome to episode 5 of Insights. I hope you're all doing well. I thought I'd just flesh out an idea with you, and I call this idea the clarity trap. So many people get stuck in indecision, not really sure, which way to turn around, whatever that decision might be. And of course, we're all faced with different kinds of decisions that really that we regard as really important and everyday decisions. But I'm talking about the more sort of bigger picture decisions to do with our lives, our relationships, our careers. And I want to share with you this thought I have around what I call the clarity trap. Clarity, I believe, is misunderstood. We will never have clarity of what our future may bring. So many people are fascinated with the future. So many people are waiting for clarity to come first, and then the decision can be made. We simply don't know what's going to happen. Even in the professional industries relating to economics, property, share markets, nobody can predict the future of what's going to happen. I shared this with a friend recently, and he said to me, but Joe, I've read many articles over time when experts have claimed they've got it right. Well, for as many experts that have claimed it right, there have been just as many experts that have claimed it wrong. And as I share, if we continue projecting many views of what the future may bring, a dart will eventually hit the bullseye. As I discovered playing darts with my son Nicholas a little while ago, if you throw enough of them, one will strike the middle of the board, just like the lottery. Or maybe as the lottery is a little bit rarer, but all the numbers will be picked at some point, sometime by somebody. So many times I'm into the footy, right? And here in Melbourne, the AFL, and I hear so many of the professional critique people who know their stuff. Absolutely, they're genuine professionals at what they do, and I hear them with clear articulation trying to predict the outcome of a game. And so many times people have got it wrong. So if we're trying to predict what clarity means in a future timeline, we're deluding ourselves. To avoid the clarity trap, right, we need to understand what clarity actually is and what it's not. We need to also understand how clarity actually works. Given that we'll never have clarity of the content of our future, like the story, like the content being our experience of what's coming or the future experiences, we don't know how the future rolls out. We don't know what the future holds. For example, we don't know how our health will be, or how our relationships will be, or what we'll be doing for a living or for a career, and so on. I remember when I first thought that, I could hear all the ego voices in my head saying things like, "Well, I am in control of my life. I look after my health. I look after myself. I'll be fine. I enjoy my career, and I'll do this for the rest of my life. And my friends love me, and I love them, so they are not going anywhere." My ego was just yelling out, trying to, out of fear of not being in control of anything, because that's the truth. Control is such an illusion. How many times do we hear of completely healthy people attracting terminal illnesses? Being let go at work, or friends making decisions about their lives which absolutely confound and confuse us. I'm sure you can relate. We all have an illusion that we are in control of our lives. If we believe this to be true, we couldn't give ourselves a bigger lie. Our lives can change in a heartbeat. Just ask any car accident victim. The only clarity we will ever have is being clear on how to approach the whole concept of clarity. We can only see as far as our psychological headlights can shine. Attempting to look beyond the lights will most definitely place us into overwhelm, into fantasy land, trying to predict something that is unpredictable or unpredictable or whatever the language is, and how you say the opposite of predictable. So many people try to figure out how it's all going to be before they take a solitary step. The question I often get asked by clients is, which direction do I move in? And my answer is, any direction, just move. I mean, true clarity is clarity when we are on a journey, when there's movement, truly understanding where we're at with our identity, our perspective, what we stand for, what our values are. All of these are parts that formulate where we're at in the ambition to meaning journey. And as we get to learn more about this ambition to meaning journey, we will gain more clarity about who we are and what matters and what our priorities are and so forth. Clarity only comes, as I just mentioned a moment ago, when we move, when we take action or simply make a decision about something we care about with conviction. Having an attitude of commitment to completion, even though we don't know what completion even means until we get there. And then the journey continues to the next completion point. The human condition is wired for purpose and service, as we've shared so many times on these podcast series already. If we take away any kind of purpose or direction or mission or quest or outcome we are seeking, and take away any ability to contribute to somebody else's life or a team or contribute to our family or our community and so forth, we are on the fast track to feeling lowly, losing our spirit. And if this goes on for long enough, we could potentially become depressed. In other words, clarity is being on a journey, knowing where we are at in that journey of ambition to meaning. The more we move away from ambition as a priority and the deeper we immerse into the meaning-driven world, the less our lives become about us and the more our lives become about others. That's clarity. That's the journey to clarity. It is when we integrate the ambition to meaning-driven world that we will have some kind of balance and clarity on who we are and where we are on the journey. The fundamental prerequisite to any kind of clarity is movement, is action. Have you ever gained a new or clear insight whilst doing something, like, taking a shower, going for a walk, going for a drive, or taking specific action in the area you want to excel in? Just any kind of movement. Nature demonstrates this truth anywhere we choose to look. And I love looking at nature. I think nature is one of the mothers of all teachers to teach us how to live a great life. I'll give you a few examples. Near my house here is an old park with a man-made lake. And for many years, this lake was murky, smelly, and lifeless. It lacked movement. It lacked clarity. I hope you're laughing for the same reason I am. The local council then invested in these water jets, which look like a water feature and yet double as a very effective way of creating movement. And from then, the murkiness disappeared. The lifeless odors were replaced by life, beautiful sounds of birds, ducks, and children. It's only when we move in any direction, that we will begin creating some kind of direction, some kind of clarity. The crucial distinction here is to move in any direction. By moving in any direction, we will find the right direction. In that same park, I noticed a mother duck and her chicks. When the mother duck stayed still, the chicks waddled about aimlessly and seemingly just in random directions, right? It's only when she took action and moved in any direction, the chicks lined up and followed. How many times have we heard ourselves say, well, when I have my ducks lined up, I'll be ready to do the thing? Well, it doesn't actually work that way in nature. It works in the opposite direction, that we'll gain clarity on how to line up those ducks only after we've moved, not before we've moved. Trees are the same. Trees rely on the wind to help them move. I know that you're saying to me, Joe, trees don't move. I know they don't move, but they move in the wind. When the tree actually moves because of the wind, it creates movement in the sap. Sap to a tree is like blood to our bodies. With the wind movement, the tree receives its nutrition. And this is one of the many ways a tree gets to live. Our bodies are the same. Our bodies are designed to keep moving. Without movement, the body will function less efficiently. And in the extreme of no movement, muscles waste away. I remember when I gashed the skin around one of my knees in a fall once. I had to keep my legs straight for only 1 week in order for the stitches to take their effect, right? And when I remember when I regained my normal range of movement, it was astounding how much power I had lost in the muscles in the back of that leg. It was only for 1 week. Have you ever tried to rehearse an important conversation in advance, trying to gain clarity of what that conversation will be, future timelining yourself? How'd that work out? They never go to plan, do they? Why? Because we are defying nature. We're trying to, we misunderstand. We've fallen for the clarity trap. We are trying to gain clarity before we move, before the conversation even happens. The nature, purpose, and the quality of that conversation can only be experienced by having it and see how it goes. What about the snail trail? There was one morning I was taking my son Oliver to school a couple of years ago, and we were there walking to the school, and there was a snail in the middle of the path, and Oliver says, Dad, look out, there's a snail, you don't want to stand on it. And so we avoided the snail, and Oliver turns around and says, Dad, what's this thing behind the snail? And I said, well, that is a snail trail. And he said to me, what is that? I said, I don't know. Let me Google it. So I Googled it. And I said, well, the snail trail looks like it's an ooze. The snail oozes ooze so we can move, so we can get greasy underneath and so we can glide and keep moving. And as it moves, it leaves that ooze behind. And that ooze that it leaves behind is the snail trail, right? Now, here's the thing. Like Oliver is, like I answered Oliver's question, and then I got an epiphany. I said to Oliver, oh, my Lord, this is amazing. Now he started looking at me in a really weird way. I said, this is amazing. I said, the trail of the snail never appears in front of the snail. It's always behind the snail. The trail of the snail is left behind after the snail moves. Now, most people live their life waiting for the trail to appear, waiting for the right signs to appear, waiting for the right road to appear. But as the snail, in all of its beauty and purity, shows us that the path will only appear when we move. It's amazing. Now, if I'm overly going over the top here and freaking out, I just love this, because I just think, just look at a tree, look at a duck, look at a river, look at a lake, look at a snail, and we get to learn about clarity. The clarity trap is one of the ego's favorite ways of holding us back, because it loves to tell us that we can't move until we know where we're going and what we're doing. So that's what I thought I'd share with you today. A little bit shorter than usual, but I thought the clarity trap. So if you're stuck in indecision, if you're stuck in wondering which way should you go around this particular decision, well, you will only gain clarity when you move in any direction. Have a conversation, go for a run. I don't know. It just, through movement comes some kind of clarity. And we will never know what the future holds. We cannot know what the future holds. It's impossible. We can only be clear on where we are at right now. And as far as as I said earlier, our psychological lights will shine. So beyond that, it's all an ego projection. It's all the ego trying to control the future. So I trust this conversation was timely and perhaps useful. And I look forward to catching up with you again next week for episode 6. And I trust you've enjoyed today's little chat on the clarity trap. All right. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your morning, wherever you are. And talk soon. Thanks, guys. Bye for now. I'm Joe Pane, and you've been listening to Insights, the podcast. If you haven't yet, subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. You can now follow my insights on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm looking forward to being with you again very soon in the next episode of Insights, the podcast.